As a coach for people who are struggling to overcome porn-related problems, I've seen people try just about anything you can think of to stop themselves from compulsively going online to search for sexual content. I've seen what works to sustainably create and nourish a long-term porn-free life, and I've seen a lot of things that don't work. Many of my clients have tried setting up consequences or punishments for themselves that they're hoping will help motivate themselves enough that when they get that urge, that extra consequence that they have in mind is enough to help them overcome that urge and resist it. And these consequences can come in a few different forms. Often it involves money. You might give $500 or $1,000 to a friend of yours and tell them, hey, only give this back to me if at the end of this month or the end of this 90 days, I can come back to you and truthfully tell you I did not relapse. Or maybe they'll commit to donating a few $100s to a political party or a cause that they disagree with or that they despise, knowing like, okay, I don't want to help out this Democrat or this Republican or whatever. And so that's going to help me resist the urges to view porn. Money isn't always involved. Sometimes it can be like removing privileges. If I relapse, then for the next 5 days after that, I'm not going to allow myself to watch TV or play video games. Or I have this party that I'm looking forward to going to in a couple of weeks. If I relapse before then, I'm not going to let myself go. Stuff like that. But there's a fundamental reason that this strategy just doesn't work. And I've seen many people who set up these consequences end up relapsing anyway. And that reason is that just by relapsing, you're already hurting yourself. You're already being punished. There are powerful reasons why you're trying to stop using porn. It's because using it is hurting you. It's hurting your relationships. Maybe it's hurting your brain. It's taking away your ability to focus on real life, taking away your self-confidence, your ability to think through problems and believe that you can overcome challenges in your life, taking away your ability to have sex. Maybe you've lost a relationship or you stand to lose a relationship. And after using, you probably already feel like shit. Other consequences disregarded. You probably feel ashamed, regretful, and not very good about yourself. And you can see how a relapse then is its own punishment. And if the fear of feeling all those terrible things isn't enough to stop you from relapsing, what makes you think that adding more terrible feelings or consequences on top of that, on top of a strategy that's not working, is going to help? Now, there are some special cases where if a strategy is not working, you can commit to it harder and stack on more effort or investment, and then it will work. It's kind of similar to AI. Sometimes you just have to pour a ton of resources into it, and all of a sudden it's pretty good. But most of the time, if a strategy is not working, the answer isn't to invest more into that strategy. It's to try different things, or multiple different things. Now, I'll be straight with you. There's probably no one strategy, no one tip or trick that's going to allow you to break these chains and break this cycle. Most often, it's a collection of different things. It's a holistic approach. There are new skills, new habits, new disciplines that you'll need to learn and incorporate in your life. You do probably need more support, more accountability, more tools perhaps, like software that puts up some fences that allow you to define your own path, make it a little bit harder to go off that path for yourself. You probably do need to learn the skills of processing and handling negative emotions. Skills that every addict I've ever worked with lacks because they've relied on that crutch of just being able to escape their emotions through using their addiction for so long. They don't know how to process those emotions in healthier ways. If you want a good foundation for all of these skills, read my book. That's a great place to start. It'll give you all the fundamentals you need to get started recovering both from porn-induced sexual dysfunctions and from compulsive use of porn. I offer it for free as a PDF to people who subscribe to my email newsletter. You can find that link down below. So even though I've said extra punishments probably won't help, probably won't keep you from relapsing, some consequences actually can be beneficial in recovery. So ask yourself, what haven't I done yet that I know would probably help me stay porn free? So you probably haven't done them because they're uncomfortable, they're intimidating, they take time, energy, money, etc. But what are those things? So some common answers might include, well, I could find a therapist, or I could find a coach, book a session with Noah. Maybe I could open up to a family member or a friend, pastor, or somebody about what I'm going through. That would be uncomfortable and challenging, but I know that it would probably help to open up to somebody, or at least that's what everyone's been telling me. I could delete or destroy my secret stash of material. I could join a support group like Porn Addicts Anonymous. I believe they have online meetings, or a support group that Noah Church runs, the Rebooter Support and Discussion Group. I could buy into a recovery program, like a course, like the ones that I offer online. I'm not trying to just shill all my stuff. I don't care if you find help somewhere else with another coach or another therapist or another program, but I do encourage you to consider all these things. What are the things that I haven't done yet because they would cost money, or they would take time, or they would push me outside of my comfort zone? Could also be installing more stringent protections on your devices, like accountability software, Covenant Eyes, Ever Accountable, Trueple, things like that. Or it could be replacing a risky device entirely. If you're in a position where you don't need a smartphone for work, for instance, you might downgrade from a smartphone to a dumb phone. Get a device where you can't go online, you can't use apps. Or get rid of devices that you don't need anymore, that are vulnerabilities for you. You get the idea. If you do relapse, and maybe the fear of some of these consequences, you don't want to spend money on a recovery program, you don't want to talk to your sister about your porn use addiction, maybe the fear of that will be enough to keep you sober. I doubt it. It might work for a while, but most likely you will end up coming back around and using porn if you're a porn addict. But if that does happen, you should take it as evidence that what you're doing isn't enough. Maybe what you're doing is helping. Maybe you've reduced the quantity or severity of your relapses, which is great. But it's evidence that you need to do something new, something more. Take new action in order to get new results. Recovery-oriented consequences, like the ones that we've talked about here, can actually propel you forward and unlock the next level of your recovery if you relapse. They're like giving away money. All that's going to do, if you do relapse, is make you feel worse. And when an addict feels worse, they're more likely to go back and use their addiction. So we want a consequence that, if it does come to pass, is going to help, not hurt you more. I got a short letter that I want to read to you to end this video. I think it's very important that you hear this. It says, before joining the Reboot community, I was depressed, lonely, and convinced I could handle recovery alone. Spoiler alert, I couldn't. Then I came across Noah, and one session completely changed my outlook. I joined the group soon after. The impact was life-changing. Being part of a community of men who shared similar struggles, most importantly without judgment, was incredibly freeing. The space Noah created felt safe, supportive, and genuine. Since I joined, I'm in a completely different place, happily married with a beautiful baby, and deeply grateful for Noah and the Reboot community. I still go to meetings because they're still amazing for my growth in recovery and life in general. I wanted to read that to you because I've seen that community make such a huge difference for so many guys. And I can't take all the credit. Like, part of it is me having set it up, and maybe me being present in the meetings, sharing some of the wisdom I've collected over the years. But a big part of it is just the connections that people make with each other while they're there, and the catharsis and the healing that happens when you're able to talk truthfully about what you're going through with people who understand. And I want you to experience that. So maybe set that up as your recovery consequence. If you relapse again, you'll join up with Noah's community, the RSD, for at least a month, and go to at least a meeting a week. And perhaps if you do relapse and you act on that consequence, that will be what can push you to the next level of recovery. So if you set that up as your consequence, I guess I'll hope to not see you there because you didn't relapse. But otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.